Good afternoon, Bison fans, and welcome to our virtual Bucknell Women's Golf Season Preview Show. My name is Todd Newcomb, and I'm joined today by Maisha Kelly, our Senior Associate AD for Development. And we want to take this time to thank our sponsor for this year's preview series, Giant. Giant has been a great partner of Bison Athletics and the entire Lewisburg community. We thank Giant for all that they do. We've got a great lineup for you today, featuring head coach Lisa Francisco and three of our current golfers, Casey Morrow, Morgan Hennessy, and Sahana Paravantavida. We're looking forward to hearing from all of them. But first, let's welcome in the head coach of the Bison, Lisa Francisco. Hi,
Hey,
Lisa.
Todd. Hey, Baisha. Thanks for having me.
All right. So Lisa's in her 5th season at the helm of the women's golf program at Bucknell. And prior to arriving here in Lewisburg, Lisa spent 3 years as a caddy on the LGPA Tour and 2 years as an assistant coach at the College of William and Mary. A 2000 Penn State graduate, Lisa was a key member of the Nittany Lions team that went to the NCAA East Regionals in 1999. So Lisa, we're going to start today with some questions from Maisha for you about your program's return to play.
Great.
Lisa, it's great to see you. Thanks for spending some time here with us this afternoon.
Great, thanks.
We're going to jump right in. And as we all know, and certainly we've talked about it here in the department often, that there has been extensive amount of preparation and planning to get us to this point. And really, from a health and safety standpoint, we have asked staffs and student athletes to adhere and follow certain protocols. Can you talk about what your team has had to do on a daily basis that looks different from the health and safety standpoint?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's been challenging, of course, but they've handled it with grace. And we are very lucky here to have the Bachman Center, our indoor golf facility, which we were able to utilize, and we have access to this building 24/7. So I was really able to get the girls' class schedules and bring them in certain times throughout the day, really stagger them, 3 to 4 players at a time. I only have 10 players, which is nice that I have a small team, but I was really able to stagger them starting at about 9 o'clock in the morning, all the way up to 3 o'clock. So I eat my lunch in my office now. I don't go anywhere because I like to be here for the ladies, but they've done a really great job of social distancing, and in our sport, it's easy for that as well. But really being able to have our own facility where we can come and go as we please, and to see them throughout the day has really been beneficial.
Great. We certainly saw a lot of activity over there at the golf course last fall and spring, and certainly I bet that will pick up again. As we talking about competition and knowing that this was going to be a unique season, talk about, you and your peers, fellow head coaches from the Patriot League. What were some of the conversations that you had to try to basically help each other along in creating a schedule, and then even details surrounding what the Patriot League Championship might look like if you had, as you talk about dates or adapting to the environment?
Yeah, those conversations were happening all winter, but at the end of the day, we just wanted to be able to play, get our student athletes out on the golf course in some way, shape, or form, whether it be, at home every weekend or every other weekend and playing one-on-one matches, things that we don't normally do in college golf. We go to tournaments and we have 4 to 5, sometimes 15. Sometimes we go to a tournament in South Carolina that has 52 teams sometimes. So, that obviously is not something that can happen for us this year. So we were just all reaching out to each other, trying to find time and space and availability, and going through, testing protocols to make sure everybody was safe and doing those things. And I think we've been able to come up with a pretty good plan. We just want to get out and compete. The girls want to, and I want to, and everybody else wants to too. So we are definitely a lot of compromise going on, but it's well worth it at the end of the day.
Sure. And so this environment has certainly, as we've had to remain flexible and nimble, and we've almost had to contain some of our desire or our zeal for wanting to get out there and play. And there's been, a bit of a roller coaster. So what have you observed, and how do you feel like your women have really shown a resolve through this time from a physical and mental standpoint, knowing that there's been a bit of a roller coaster.
Oh, they've been great. I can't say enough about my players, how able and willing they are to pivot. We have all used that word a lot over the last 12 months, and they have been so great to work with. You know, sometimes plans change daily, where practice happens, when practice happens. And they just, you know, thank God for text messages and instant messages and group chats and whatnot, that it's easy to communicate that information with them. But they have been more willing and able than that I could ever imagine. They've been so easygoing with everything, and I think they're very appreciative and grateful for the opportunities that we have had, and we will have in the next 12 months. So you know, and they've done a great job of being college students safely in a world where, you know, you can't go out, you can't do anything, you can't be the college student that you want to be, because at the end of the day, they want to stay healthy, they want to stay safe, they want to be able to go to the Patriot League Conference Championship in April. And I know it's most important for my senior captains and everybody all the way down through my freshman class. So they've just been so willing and ready to do what they need to do so we can travel and compete.
So Lisa, before we talk more about the women on your team, I want to ask you a question about the landscape of the game of golf nationally right now. So Maisha mentioned a lot of activity at the golf course. And as you mentioned, it's an activity you can do while social distancing. I know the Bucknell Golf Club had a record number of tee times last year. Do you think COVID has, in a sense, brought a resurgence to the game of golf?
Absolutely. You know, it's, you know, for, you know, a year ago when this all started, you know, everybody was just confined to their inside, and nobody knew really what to do or where to go. And then finally, you know, people that may have picked up golf clubs 20 years ago and put them away decided, oh, what the heck, I can go out to the golf course, I can do that socially distanced. And so yeah, it was we were safe being outside, right? And we play golf outside, and you know, I know the driving range was super busy last fall, the summer and fall, and I know if we don't have great weather today, but I know in the next couple of days when we start to get some good weather, the place is going to be crawling over there. I think it's great for the game of golf. I think it's great for Bucknell Golf Club. And I think it's great for the city of Lewisburg. So yeah, bring on that good weather. We're looking forward to it, and bring out the golf crazies. It'll be crazy over there all summer.
I'm looking forward to joining those ranks myself. But
Nice.
you know, for the team, in a normal fall season, you'd play a busy tournament schedule, and so certainly that didn't happen this year. But what were the things that you were able to do to help get the team ready and improve their games so that they could be ready for what is going to be this spring season?
You know, so I'm a firm believer in you learn to play golf on the golf course. And even though we did not get to compete against other teams this fall, we were competing against each other every weekend that we could, you know, up to a certain time to when the weather, you know, got bad. And you know, and even over the break when the girls went home for break, you know, I told them to try to, you know, get out on the golf course somewhere or go compete, you know, have a long drive contest with your dad in the dome or something, you know, stay competitive. It's really important to stay competitive over the winter. And that's something that I think will take us down the road and help our program succeed. You know, I have a very competitive group, a healthy competitive group, which is really great. It keeps everybody on their toes. You know, we're going to get out there this weekend. We've got some good weather coming up this weekend, and I'm looking forward to getting them out there and getting them competitive again, and learning to play golf. You know, anybody can step on the range and hit balls. And I've seen lots of great range players over the years. When you get out on the golf course and you actually have the elements out there, and, you know, nothing's perfect on a golf course. And that's how you learn how to compete and stay competitive and keep that competitive edge. So that's the most important thing. One of the most important things that I like to talk to my players about.
So speaking of that competitive edge and being competitive, your team's going to ease back into competition with 2 dual matches against Lehigh on the 27th and 28th of March. What do you hope to get out of those competitions, Lisa?
It's, first competitions of the year, first competitions in a year and more. So the biggest thing that I'm looking for is just, dusting the rust off. Dusting the rust off of the clubs and their competitive nature. We haven't been able to feed the beast, for a year. So it's just really important just to get out there and get back, pardon the pun, but in the swing of things, and it's so different. You can hit balls and you can train and you can do all the things you need to do to get ready. But when you actually step on the golf course and you put that tee in the ground and you walk your first 18 holes, you're exhausted by the end of that day. So it's so important just to get out on the golf course as quick as we can and as much as we can, and just get used to playing again.
Let's talk about your team for a few minutes. Aaron Holmes and Casey Maher are two seniors, and they've played some really good golf here. Tell us a little bit about their games and their roles as leaders on the team.
Well, Aaron and Casey are special players in my heart because they are my first recruiting class, and I can't believe that they are seniors. And wow, they're going to graduate in a few months, and we've actually talked about that a little bit. It seems like yesterday that they walked in here as first years, and I expected a lot out of them as first years, and I remember just telling them that they're this start of a new culture here and the way of Bucknell women's golf, and they've done an excellent job of doing that. They've done everything I've ever asked them to do over the years, and they've really earned their captaincies this year. So they have both grown so much on the golf course as far as maturity levels go, and just what to expect out of themselves every day they go out on the golf course. Every competition that they play is different. It can be different, just like the day is different. And they have really done a great job of accepting that in themselves, and knowing that they got to be the best version of themselves on each day. And sometimes that's really good. And sometimes it's not so good. So they're doing a great job of being leaders this year and really helping the younger players deal with these uncertain times and saying, well, this is the way it was in the past, but we can do it we're going to do it a different way this year. And that, it's just the way it is. So, but they're great leaders. They're great young women. They are going to be great professionals. They're going to be great. They are great representatives of Bucknell women's golf in the university. And I'm very proud to have coached them for 4 years.
So Lisa, there's another name on the roster that the local golf fans might be familiar with, and that's Morgan Zachowski, who's right down the road in Bloomsburg. And she was a very good junior player here in Central PA. She started her career at West Virginia, then transferred back home here to Bucknell and had a really good fall. I understand she was one of the top players in your qualifying event as well. What does Morgan bring to the team?
Wow, Morgan brings a lot of depth that I already had anyway, but it makes us deeper. Morgan and I talked a little bit in the recruiting process, but she had decided as a junior golfer she didn't think she wanted to play college golf. And so we stopped talking. And then she went to West Virginia and just really kind of wasn't happy there, and realized the year she took away from golf was not good. She missed it so much. And so she reached out, we started talking, and I tell you what, she's one of the diamonds in the rough that as a coach I always look for. And I can't believe it's 25 minutes down the road. We get a local gal coming in and just kicking butt on the golf course, and just a good person, a great teammate, a good golfer, expects a lot of herself, but understands at the end of the day, golf is not a game of perfection. We all know that. So she's very excited to have her part of the program for the next 4 years, and I expect a lot of great things out of Morgan.
Lisa, the Patriot League Championship is going to Saucon Valley Country Club this year on April 24th to 25th, and it's a course that has hosted U.S. Women's Open. And it's also a site where Bucknell won a Patriot League championship back in 2014. So how do you think this course fits our current team?
Well, I don't know, Maisha, because none of my players currently on my roster have ever been on the golf course. However, we've talked about it over, the last year. Yeah, it's a great championship golf course. It will be in immaculate shape. We know it will be. The greens will be fast. So I know that part of my philosophy is playing smart golf, and I have been there, and so I know how we want to play the golf course. So the biggest thing is, getting on the golf course the day of a practice round and really focusing on course management and knowing how we want to play the golf course. There are holes out there where you could probably, hit driver off the tee, but you really shouldn't. You really should probably play smarter than that. And there are par fives out there that some of my players probably could hit into, but we might not play them that way. So, sometimes it's course management skills can define how well you play in a championship. And the thing that we cannot control, but it is always in the back of our minds, is weather. We could have great weather and kind of central PA down there, or we could have not so good weather. So it's something that I talk to my players about a lot, is, understanding that there are things out there that we can control and there are things that we cannot control. Obviously, weather is one of them. So, hopefully our golf skills will be in prime shape going in. But I definitely think that if we take the smart course management ways into it, we're going to be fine. I'm confident in my players. They're just a great group.
Excellent. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. We're hoping for great weather. We're hoping for golf to, be busy over there, but also really successful for our women as they approach this season. So thank you again for joining us, and good luck this spring.
Great, Maisha. Thank you. Thank you, Todd.
All right. Thank you, Lisa. Time now to welcome our 3 current players to today's program. And our first guest will be senior Casey Morrow, who hails from Mars, Pennsylvania, and attended the Shady Side Academy in Pittsburgh prior to arriving at Bucknell. Thanks for joining us, Casey.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Casey, can you tell us how you chose Bucknell and ultimately became a member of the women's golf team here?
Sure. I knew I wanted to play golf in college. I've known that since probably middle school. So I was looking at several schools kind of surrounding the Pennsylvania area, because I've always been kind of a homebody. I didn't want to go too far from home. And academics were also a big priority for me. And Bucknell just really checked off both boxes of D1 golf and top-notch athletics. And then obviously when I came to visit here, I just felt really like at home, like it just felt really comfortable right away. So I knew pretty early on that I wanted to go here.
Casey, it's great to see you. Thanks for being with us here this afternoon. Can you just share with us a little bit what the last 12 months have been like for you personally and from a golf perspective?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, like everyone else, the last 12 months have been really different, really strange for me. This past summer, for example, I definitely didn't golf. I definitely was able to golf way more than usual, but I wasn't playing in tournaments, which was kind of different for me. Usually, I spend the whole summer kind of preparing for a few tournaments that I'm going to play in, and that's really kind of the most exciting part of my summer. But a lot of those were canceled, so this summer was kind of more about playing for fun. And I think really what I got out of that is how much I enjoy golf tournaments, and it made me sort of miss them and kind of get hungry for them, if that makes sense. So yeah, it just kind of built the anticipation for this spring. And obviously we didn't know if we were going to be able to play. But that it was on my mind all summer, all fall, even up to last spring when our season was cut short. So I'm definitely really excited to start competing.
Casey, let's talk a little bit about last spring. I mean, you were playing the best golf of your career last season. You averaged 75.6 in the fall season, which was a school record. And in the spring, you were tied for the 18-hole lead in Daytona Beach after shooting a 73. You finished tied for sixth, and then the season was halted. So what was clicking for you last year, and why was your game working so well?
I mean, I really think I've just been maturing more. I think that, you know, if you kind of look back, I've been getting better and better each year, and I really think that comes down to maturity and my mental game just getting stronger and stronger. I think I have the skills. I think I've always had like the golf skills, but I just feel more confident each year, and I think that that's continued. Obviously, it was disappointing to have that really solid finish and then have it get cut short and not be able to play in our conference championship. But at the same time, I do feel like, you know, the work that I put in last year over the summer and in the fall is going to pay off. And I definitely feel ready to get back out there.
Casey, real quick follow-up to that. How much of that maturity in your game involves course management, something that Coach was talking about earlier?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Coach will tell you kind of before I came to Bucknell, I was a little bit more reckless on the golf course. I like taking risks. But as, you know, I've matured, listened to some things coaches told me and, you know, taken a kind of unbiased look at my own game. I've definitely, I would say that's one of the greatest strides I've made since being a collegiate athlete.
So the hunger's there and you're feeding the beast, but you're also taming it, right? That's the approach that you're taking to your game, which is great. So as a senior, you know, you're put into these roles, these leadership roles, and much of it has to do also with leading newcomers, younger upper, you know, underclassmen. So what has been some of the advice that you've given them as they've managed, one, just being collegiate athletes, but also two, manage this time of uncertainty?
Yeah, I would say number one, first thing that I kind of talk with them about is time management. Just because I know when I came to Bucknell, it was a big transition for me. Being like a biology major, they really piled on freshman year. And we actually we have a freshman, Christina, who's a neuroscience major, and it's sort of the same classes. So the biggest thing was, you know, I was saying to them, you don't want to wait to the last minute to do things. And I think that honestly, the freshmen we've had have been really great with that. They've been really on top of things. And then as far as COVID goes, I mean, I really see myself as being in the same boat as everyone else and just kind of reminding people we can only control how we respond to things. That's really all we can do. Just go out there, go to practice with a positive attitude, stay focused, stay having fun, stay enjoying it, and let the chips fall where they will. And fortunately, it looks like we are going to be able to compete, which I think, you know, we're all really excited about, and, you know, things went our way. So I think the freshmen, as well as everyone else on the team, is definitely going to be ready.
So Casey, that segues into my next question. So what do you personally and the team in general need to be focused on between now and the Patriot League Championship in late April?
Yeah, that's a good one. I would say I think that our team definitely has the talent to win the Patriot League. We need to focus on playing smart is, I think, the biggest kind of goal. We can all go out there, make birdies and pars. We have to make sure that we're limiting the bad holes and we're, you know, shaking off, you know, when you do make a mistake, make sure you rebound quickly, bounce right back and get back in there, because the game of golf is a very, very long game. I mean, a lot of times Patriot Leagues, we're going to be playing 3 rounds of golf. So that's a lot of holes. There's going to be 6 of us playing. So we're going to have to stay focused and, you know, don't let the mistakes bother us.
Casey, you mentioned that you're a biology major. What are your plans here after your time at Bucknell?
I actually was accepted into my top choice dental school at the University of Pittsburgh.
That's great.
So
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So Casey, we're going to talk to Morgan Hennessy next. Tell us something about Morgan that people might not know.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is a good one. So Morgan's nickname in her family and her friends is actually Nelly. And you might think, Nelly, that doesn't sound anything like Morgan. Well, it's because she went to a summer camp when she was a kid called Nelly, and she absolutely hated it and wrote her family home like every day saying she wanted to come home. And now they call her Nelly just to like make fun of her for it.
Well, that's a great story. And I don't know if I'm going to introduce her as Nelly, but I'll keep that in the back of my mind. So thanks so much, Casey, for being here with us today. And we wish you the best of luck personally and your team as well this spring.
Thank you.
All right. So next up is Nelly, or Morgan Hennessy, as she's better known. She's a junior from Bronxville, New York, and she attended the Sacred Heart Greenwich Academy in Connecticut before coming to Bucknell. Welcome, Morgan. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Hi.
So now that we know a little bit about you, can you share more about your recruiting story with the audience and how you wound up here as a Bison?
Yeah, so I'm the oldest of my family, so I spent a lot of time kind of getting to know different schools and trying to pick out what I was interested in and kind of a certain criteria I was looking for in a school. And I was able to travel around, meet a lot of coaches and a lot of great teams. But I was fortunate enough to come here my senior year and meet with coach and some of the teammates here. I met Casey actually. And it was great. It really clicked. And I loved all aspects of the school, the social aspects, the golf, the academics, and it ended up being a great fit for me.
Morgan, good to see you. Let's talk a little bit about how you were able to spend your time and if you were able to play golf last summer and even this fall. You know, how much golf did you get to play and what kind of shape is your game in right now?
Yeah, so I played a good amount over the summer. I was working, but I played a lot on the weekends, and we played a lot in the fall. I think it was tricky not being able to compete because I think when you play in a tournament, you're able to get kind of a check-in, like, okay, where am I at? What do I need to work on, especially under pressure? And that's kind of how you build and go forward. So I think that was tricky, but I think we really made it work, just kind of playing together as a team, keeping each other motivated and just making the best out of the situation we were in.
So Morgan, you started out last spring with a good showing at Kiowa Island, shooting 77s in the second and third rounds there. I'm sure that gave you a lot of confidence. So how much of a disappointment was it when everything got put on pause?
Yeah, it was definitely disappointing because I was coming into hopefully a good streak there. But I think it was a good way to end for me. Like, I was very positive going out, and then I was able to kind of build throughout the summer and into the fall on that, and hopefully just get excited for what's to come and just try to build on from there.
So one of the things that people may not realize is how much of a time commitment collegiate golf is. And it's, certainly practice times and tournaments and just competing, but also you travel far for tournaments and there's a lot of time spent in vans and with travel. So given that, and given what Casey also mentioned, just kind of about time management, what do you do for fun and to pass some time for yourself and also as you're traveling with your team?
Yeah, I try to spend a lot of time with friends and just keeping a balance with social life there. I'm in a sorority, so I do a little bit of that and just trying to keep a balance between the academics, the golf, and just social and having, fun outside of all of that. And I listen to a lot of podcasts. I do try to read outside, just try to keep kind of entertained in other ways to keep a good balance between everything, because there's definitely a big time management component, but it is nice. I think it keeps you on your game, if you have something to do, you don't have time to kind of think about it, you just kind of get it done, which is nice.
So as a junior now, give us the scouting report on the three sophomores, Tatum, Sahana, and Morgan.
Yeah, we have some great sophomores. Very exciting. They're all very good people and very good golfers. It's been very nice to be kind of above them and get to develop some nice relationships with them. I've enjoyed getting to know all of them. They're all different, but all really great in their own ways. So it's been nice. It's nice to have kind of a smaller team. You really get to know everybody on a personal level.
Who's the long ball hitter in that group?
Definitely Sahana, sitting right in front of us.
All right.
Maybe.
So Morgan, after being a member of the part of the program for a few years now, how would you say your game has evolved as a player, and what are your expectations of yourself and the team this season?
Yeah, I think coming in, I think the difference between junior golf and college golf is a big transition. I think golf is very individual in a sense that throughout high school, if you're not playing for your high school team, you're just really playing for yourself. So when you come to college, there's the added on pressure that I'm not only playing for myself, but I'm part of a bigger team here. So there's definitely that mental transition, which I think was definitely tricky for me at first. But I think after a couple of years, you learn how to adapt and kind of just enjoy it rather than being so stressed out and feeling that pressure. So I think my game has been able to evolve into more of a just having fun and staying in the present and enjoying being part of the team rather than taking that on as added pressure. So I think going forward, it's just kind of enjoying myself and being in the present, staying in the moment, and then being able to enjoy all the success that we have as a team together.
All right, Morgan, here it comes. We're going to talk to Sahana next. Tell us something about Sahana that people may not know.
Let's see. Oh, she's from Dubai. She has a very unique story from where she's lived and kind of moved around. She's very, very interesting in that aspect. It's really cool.
You're stealing my script, but that's perfect.
I'll leave it at that.
All right. Well, Morgan, thank you so much for your time today, and
Thank you.
best of luck to you with your personal game and to the team at Patriot Championships.
Thank you.
All right. So our final guest today is sophomore Sahana Paravantavida, who's from Alexandria, Virginia. Sahana attended the American School of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates prior to Bucknell. Welcome, Sahana.
Hello. Thank you.
So back to what Morgan just said, you were born in Aruba and went to high school in Dubai. Tell us more about your background and world travels before you got here to Lewisburg, and why did you choose Bucknell?
Okay, so I have also lived in India. That was through middle school, and then moved to Dubai for my whole high school experience. And choosing Bucknell, I think just like Casey, I've always wanted to play college golf. And as an international, but also an American citizen, it's kind of tough to get recruited. And what I would do is every summer I'd come here and play. And I think what we started to do is because we used to live in New Jersey, so we kind of scouted around this area and also around Florida because we lived there as well. I think it just checked all my boxes. And once I visited the school, I think that was one of the turning points for me because the campus was beautiful. And then the Bachman Center was beautiful. And I just was overwhelmed. And when I started talking to Coach, I think I talk about this a lot, but Coach kind of stood out to me because she was so friendly and she kind of was what I wanted in a coach. And I've heard a lot of not so good stories about my friends who've played college golf and their coaches weren't as supportive, or they made them quit the team even. And Coach just she made it for me for this school for sure.
So quick follow-up. How many languages do you speak?
Okay, so I speak English. I learned Spanish. We speak Hindi at home, but also English. I'm not fluent, but like I'm pretty good. And then I attempted to learn Arabic, but it's very difficult language. Yeah.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Really cool. Sahana, great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
I have a similar question that we asked all of your teammates already, and that's really how much golf were you able to play this past summer and fall, and what kind of shape is your game in?
So for the past summer, I played as much as I could. I took advantage of the good weather because, I mean, living abroad for so long, I did not experience a real winter until coming here. And I mean, the summertime hit and I just played as much as possible. And the same like Casey, it wasn't much like of a competition vibe. I was trying to have fun with the game. I played with my brother a lot, played with my mom a lot too. And we had sort of like a little league between us, and that was really fun. And I really enjoyed that. And then coming into the season, I guess, that we had, I wanted to work on a lot of things that I lacked in the previous season. So I was really technical and kind of working through a lot of my own individual things. So, yeah.
I love the family competition. It goes back to Coach's comment about keeping that competitive edge. That's a great way to do it. So in your very first collegiate round, you shot a 74 at the Bucknell Invitational, which was the best score on the team. What do you remember about that round? And how difficult was the transition to college for you? College golf.
So, okay. I must say, off the top of my head, you don't really remember much from your good rounds. They're almost like amnesia. But that's what's so good about them, is that you're kind of in that zone, and that's how I was feeling for sure. And if I can think back to like even my high school days, the best rounds, like they just feel like I was in the zone. And I just, what was the second part of your question? Sorry.
How difficult was the transition to college golf for you?
I think I came into it with a lot of expectations, and I was nervous, obviously being an international, but I mean, the girls on the team were so much fun, and they had like their own family like vibe to them. And I just fit right in. Like everybody was so welcoming, especially I remember I started off as a bio major, and Casey just like, she gave me that pat on the back, and I was nervous. I was scared for like the amount of work that I had to do on top of like playing golf competitively. And I mean, I had so many role models. I was like, every single girl on the team really helps welcome everybody.
So as now a sophomore and having gone through the transition yourself, what advice are you giving newcomers about the transition to college?
I think it's so much different. So much has changed now, but it's the same thing as Casey said. Time management is going to be your like best skill. If you can master it, you can do anything. And I mean, we didn't have as many competitions, but I think keeping that competitive edge for sure last fall was something that I tried to do, I guess, with our freshmen. And I think they all have like that. They came into it thinking we were like about to go play tournaments, but things changed, and we all just accepted it. But we had such a great time last fall.
All right, Sahana, I'm going to ask you a similar question that I asked Casey earlier, and have you put on your coaching hat and give us a scouting report on the 3 first-year players in the program.
I mean, like I just said, they are really good, let me say. And I'm really excited that we got 3 because, and in addition to Morgan Zachowski, of course, I just love, the more the merrier for sure. We're not a very big team, but I think the 3 of them, I got really close to Chris Canales from Spain, and she is just a little bundle of joy, and I love seeing her face. We had Lift, and all of them came in just like with a great attitude about everything, always looking up to us, which is like really good. They weren't very, like they didn't want to be isolated from us. They had the same attitude of being like a joint team, and I really like that. So they're great teammates.
So sort of on the flip side of that, what have you been able to take away from the upperclassmen in your time with the program? And in addition, what has been one of your biggest challenges as a college golfer?
Well, I think I've taken away a lot from our upperclassmen. I mean, they are just amazing women, really great role models, really supportive. I mean, especially because I've lived abroad for 10 years. Coming back to something like this I'm very grateful for it. So I think from Casey, there's like time management for sure that she preaches. Morgan has messaged me on so many occasions where I've played a bad round, and it just like a message, it picks you up. It makes you feel like, you have your team there. And that's something that I wasn't used to, because I used to be the only girl on my golf team in high school. Sorry, what was the second part of your question?
Just the biggest challenge that you've had, the biggest challenge you've had as a golfer, collegiate golfer.
I think that would most likely be balancing between all the things, social, academics, and golf. And it's like finding your own balance, because for every person, obviously, it's going to be different based on what you like to do. So that was something that I struggled with previously. I'm still working through it, but I think I've gotten a handle on it so far this year.
So Sahana, we had your teammates on the show give us some insight on the next speaker today, but for you, we don't have a next speaker coming up. So I thought maybe you could tell us something about Coach Francisco that we don't know.
Oh, she likes to read. And she actually recommended a book for me, which I don't necessarily love to read, but I am in love with this book. So I think she's got a ton of books on her desk, like the mental side of golf. And I think that's something not everybody might know about her.
Well, that's a great insight onto Coach. I mean, the more you read, the more you learn, right? So
yeah.
Thanks for that tidbit. And thank you again for being here today, and best of luck to you as well.
Thank you.
All right. Special thanks to all of our guests being here today. That just about wraps up today's show. I want to thank Jeffrey Campbell, John Terry, and Jess O'Shaughnessy for all their help with today's event. Our final event in our season preview series, sponsored by Giant, will be tomorrow, Wednesday, March 17th at noon, and it will feature the men's golf program. Until then, have a great day, good afternoon, and go buy some